wanna do now is making it last. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever, strengthening the ties that keep us together. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever, strengthening the ties that keep us together.
It's time for another conversation. Welcome to Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping people to have better relationships, not just with themselves, but with other people. Our topic this time around is how can improved communication bridge the generation gap and improve our relationship with youths. And who best to speak about a topic like that than with two young people. I have with me Kevaughn Knight, Youth Parliamentarian, and Natalie Drummond-Edwards, Youth Director of the Cobbler New Testament Church of God. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Who would like to weigh in first on this?
Well, let me just say, all right, so in today's generation, is oftentimes the youths of this generation, they say that the older persons, they don't really understand them. They don't understand their culture. And at the same time, I think that the younger generation, they don't really understand older persons just the same. Okay. So there seems to be a gap where communication is concerned with these two generations. Mm-hmm. And if there is a gap, then there needs to be a bridge. Okay. And in order for they both to either end up on the same side or meet somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. So I think something that needs to be done in order for the younger ones to understand the adults and adults to understand the younger people. And the best way of doing this is through communication and different methods of communication. Okay. Right? Now, where young persons are concerned, they are more like they're in the technology age. Mm-hmm. The older persons, they maybe not so often with technology. So there are things that they will not understand, and they think differently. Everything is done differently. So there needs to be something needs to be done where these two can come together and understand, said, okay, I understand how you feel, how you do things, and I accept you the way you are, and the same. So there will be less of a problem where ageism is concerned.
Okay. Really. All right. Kevaughn?
Awesome. I also concur with Natalie's point regarding the whole idea of youth being misunderstood. Mm-hmm. I strongly believe that the problem that we're having also, regardless of communication issues, is a level of understanding amongst each age group. Because in this 21st century, what we have is a young people who are exposed to a wide variety of new experiences, new technology, an entire different lifestyle than old people. Mm-hmm. Well, let me not say old people, but older people.
I'm guessing somewhere I'd fit in that category. No, but okay. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So because of the cultural differences and the works, there has been a different type of attitude towards growth and understanding. So because old people no longer, they tend to stick slavishly to traditional ways of doing things, and no, young people are now interested in finding new methods of doing things. Mm-hmm. What happens is there is like a cross culture where we don't understand why you want to do this or how you do that. And because nobody has a level of communication where we try to help each other, there comes a gap. And with that gap, there's a misunderstanding. So what we really need is for people to be able to use the two ears. Like we all know that we have two ears and one mouth. With that said, we need to listen twice as much as we speak. So what we need to do is open our ears to each other as two different age groups and just try to understand and comprehend each other as we grow together in a society.
Okay, we're going to talk more in terms of how then to put this on a practical level. But if as an old person, yes, I'm listening and I'm saying, but the younger ones should try to maybe even understand us more and we've been around long enough and what we have always done. I mean, yes, we've made our own mistakes, but we are the ones with the wisdom then, so to speak.
Okay.
Why then should us as the older people make such an effort to try to bridge this gap?
Well, there you go. The very way that it's said, it tells that the older person is a bit stubborn.
Okay.
And they're actually set in their ways
Okay.
and they don't want to change.
Okay.
Right. And no, when you behave like that, then this is where the gap would even get even wider and wider. And you don't want that to happen.
Okay.
So if the younger person want to unleash their talent and they're so creative, they want to unleash that creativeness that they have within them and all of that. And if the older person are so set in their ways and you're saying, okay, we've been doing this way for such a long time and it has worked, then why should we change? Then you're not actually giving the younger person a chance to do what they really want to do. And as well as they could actually teach you something, because you could actually learn. Now, what you have been doing for a long time might be working, but at the same time, what they are showing you, you could actually improve on that. Not that you're actually going to change it, but maybe tweak it a little. And if you do that, then yes, then maybe then both of you could come to a level of understanding and you say, I mean, some compromise then. So I show you something, you show me something, and right there and then you both could learn something from each other.
Okay. Kevaughn is here shaking his head, and obviously you're not able to see this. So tell us why you're shaking your head so much
Because
about what she's saying.
The first question I was going to pose is, whenever an older person tries to use technology, who do they call for?
A young person.
Yes.
Young person.
So it's a matter of us trying to learn from each other, because the idea of I have been through this, I've done this before, I know what can happen. The operative word in that sentence is can. Not will. And what happens is, young people in our own mindset, we want to experience things for ourselves. We want to know how things could possibly go if I do this or that. But if you tell me that X will land me at Y, overgeneralization. And because it's overgeneralization, we want facts to justify this cause. If there's no facts to justify this cause, we want to experience it ourselves. So that's what you have.
Okay. We're going to backtrack a bit before we continue. One thing that came out earlier was the whole idea of tradition versus newness. Anybody want to elaborate on that a little bit more? Because, going back to what I said just now, which is sometimes a lot of us as older persons, we've gotten so comfortable with doing things a practical way. And yes, we might even be open to improving, but some of us are also quite skeptical about embracing all of the newness, because sometimes you think in embracing some of the newness, you might lose some of the what should I say? I'm going to coin a word, the traditionalisms or ness. Yes? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So, right. So how then do we try to strike that balance?
Tradition is not something that is fixed per se.
Okay.
What tradition does is it is developed over time. So with that said, with new people coming into the world, people will always find new developments, new ways and methodologies of doing things.
Okay.
And because of that, it's just like answering a math question. There are several ways to derive at the same answer. So because we have other ways of doing things, it might seem as though, okay, this is possibly going to be wrong. But then at the end of the day, when everything is solved, you find out that they have the same answer. So it is okay to explore, even though you're old and you have been used to a particular way of doing things. It is okay to explore. And it's also okay for young people to want to try the traditional way of doing things.
Okay.
It's just that we can actually do the traditional and explore at the same time. So it's just a matter
I
of
agree
that.
with you, Kevin.
Okay. Now, you spoke about the whole idea of being open, and of course this openness can't just be one-sided, but there are a lot of older people, and I'm around a lot of older people a lot, and what I hear them saying sometimes if you're too open to young people is that they border, some of them might border on being even disrespectful if you're too open. So what is your response to that?
All right. So I don't really think that is really the case. Maybe persons that you've heard that said that may have had experiences, or that maybe that is not really the case, that they are actually disrespectful, or that they want to disrespect the older persons. But maybe it's just the way how they communicate. But at the same time, it is the job of the older persons to actually teach these young persons how to communicate respectfully. It's their job to teach them. Like you'd say, well, persons normally say, oh, I grew up with my grandmother, so I have manners and all of that. Well, if you teach these younger persons from birth, that this is the way you go about things, this is the way you speak to an adult, this is the way you answer a question, this is what is expected of you and all of that, then maybe yes. But maybe if that is not there from beginning, then there will be a problem. Now, within the young person's eyes or ears, they might not think that they're actually being disrespectful. You understand? So they don't really know that they're being disrespectful. And the older person might just be pointing it out that you are being disrespectful, or you don't have any manners to me. But at the same time, are you actually trying to correct that behavior, or you're just pointing out the wrong behavior?
As usual, Kevaughn is here nodding. Add your piece, Kevaughn.
I concur with Natalie, but I want to add also the idea of young people having we all have cultural backgrounds, and we all have different home experiences, and different experiences garner different responses. And because of that, depending on how you are socialized, there are certain responses that you might give, and persons who are not socialized in the same way that you are will take it as disrespectful. So what will happen now, there becomes a need for boundaries. So whoever the adult is needs to set boundaries with these people and ensure that these boundaries are never passed. So once there is a guideline and a protocol towards things, though we are friends as an adult and as a youth, we will never cross a particular line, because we know that, all right, there should be a level of respect and a level of acknowledgement for the fact that I am actually older than you, and I sort of deserve a certain level of respect from you. So yeah, but with the same level of respect from the youth to the adult, there should be the same level of respect from the adult to the youth.
Yeah. I agree with you, Kevaughn. I think respect goes in both ways. So both directions. So if the adult is looking forward for the younger person to have respect for them, so should the adult have respect for the younger person.
The topic we've been discussing is how can improve communication, bridge the generation gap, and improve our relationship with youths. For you to hear the conclusion of this conversation, you'll have to join us next time. This was Making It Last podcast with your host, Noreen Daly. See you then.
Loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life won't